there's this journalist, David Holthouse, who heard this story when he was like trimming in the 90s. He was trimming up in the Emerald Triangle. He heard this story of a triple murder of some cannabis growers up there. And they were ripped limb from limb, and it was this bloody scene, and all of their cannabis was left. Like it wasn't a robbery. And so he heard this story, and he remembered it his entire life. And he decided to go back, whatever this is, 25 years later or something like that. I can't do math. And sort of investigate what actually happened. Is this, I mean, this, we all know the stories of Sasquatch in Northern California, specifically in the Redwood area. So he used this story, just this story from the 90s, to go on this wild true crime adventure trying to solve this murder, right? And in such, maybe try to solve whether Bigfoot exists or catch a murderer, right? So it was, I was really fascinated because the story meets in this weird realm of the Emerald Triangle. In the Emerald Triangle, it's Mendocino County, Trinity County, and Humboldt County, which is, the biggest cannabis producing region in the world, possibly. And they sort of meet because growers and Sasquatch are both looking for the same areas, right? Remote, inaccessible areas with flowing water. And this is what they're saying in the film. So what was your initial, did you enjoy it? It was darker than I thought it would be.
Well, the first thing that really drew me in was the guy who made it.
Yes.
David Holthouse. Has done some documentaries that I really enjoyed. Docuseries specifically, Night Stalker. He did a couple other ones. So I had high expectations for it. I have mixed reviews. I had mixed emotions going through it. And we'll get into that a little bit more when we get into the specifics. But I was really excited. We grew up in Northern California. What Northern California has, and I might be getting ahead of myself a little bit, is we have the best wine growing region in the world, and we have the best weed growing region in the world, and they're really close to one another.
Yeah.
You go Napa County, you go a little bit more north and west, you hit kind of Mendocino, Humboldt, Trinity, the Emerald Triangle, as they call it, which produces some of the highest quality marijuana in the world. And as you mentioned, Sasquatch really enjoys that same kind of area, the vegetation that weed grows so well. So I was very excited about it because it's something that I'm really passionate about. I am a weed consumer myself. I have been for many years, and I've always enjoyed the idea of Sasquatch. So especially this dropping on 420 and being very weed themed, even in the trailer, super, super excited me.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because one of the gentlemen that was interviewed in this film, in this docuseries, which we'll get to all the characters because this it was full of crazy characters. But he mentioned, where almost like the Mendocino-Sonoma County line, once you cross it, it becomes really bad for growing weed and really good for growing wine, and vice versa, right? It's this weird line, and I'm guessing it's that coastal precipitation.
A little bit more cooler, a little bit mild.
Exactly.
More mild. Wine likes really high heats, whereas weed likes the same kind of environment, but a little bit more moisture and a little bit cooler temperature.
And they really go into why cannabis grows so well. And they even know the different specific regions of the Emerald Triangle where, plants grow to be 12 feet tall. And
just like the difference between Sonoma and Napa County, they're right next to one another, but they grow very drastically different wines. So It's very similar to that.
Yeah. So first and foremost, this was somewhat of a dark movie, and as much as on Active NorCal we covered the positive, the beauty, that is sort of ignored in this documentary. It gets into the dark realm of the Emerald Triangle, much like Murder Mountain.
I was just going to say, unlike every other kind of Sasquatch-oriented film, this one was very much more Murder Mountain.
And there are some similarities, right?
Totally.
And during certain sections of this docuseries, there's definitely some similarities, some similar stories